I think they're finally just at the end of the road.
The land of Arcadia.
Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics with a quick update on the White House potential shutdown, debt ceiling update, because it sure seems like people are panicking a little bit in the White House and Biden administration. As some viewers of the channel may be aware, I've been suggesting for a couple of weeks that they were going to run out of money and have some issues getting things raised. There's Joe Manchin, who's a Democrat, who's been blocking a lot of these plans. Nancy Pelosi, I hear things are not going so well for her. And now they're talking about taking steps and I guess even notifying many of the agencies. I haven't seen Joe Biden say it directly, or one of the Joe Bidens anyway, but it seems like the 30th and then October 1st, which start of fourth quarter and start of the fiscal quarter for the United States, is a key date. Again, these guys were all on vacation for pretty much the last month. Well, Janet Yellen's writing letters saying that it's a catastrophe if it even is a discussion about the credit rating. And you can take a quick look at the gold price in August of 2011, which went from 1600 to 1900 in a month following the S&P downgrade of the US after they made a debacle out of that one. And it sure felt like shaping up like that could be the case again this year. I think they're finally just at the end of the road. Look at these what debt ceiling lows can mean for Social Security, debt limit. It's all of a sudden now they care. Here's another trick I've mentioned before. Some of these articles go to the end first. That's how the style of writing, they often summarize it. So let's see. Have clashed over the size. Neither Pelosi nor Schumer clarified whether negotiators made decisions or were in agreement. So I sometimes do that, especially when I'm skimming through a lot of stuff, because here basically they're telling you it seems like they couldn't be farther from agreeing. And part of the reason why I would suggest this and why I still wonder if the Fed already started tapering. Keep in mind, when the Fed gave their announcement yesterday, that was decided at some point before 2 p.m. Eastern time, because that's when CNBC and Wall Street Journal release it. Now they need time to get it. Of course, the Federal Reserve, we currently have some of the Fed governors under investigation for front running their own policies. They bought tech shares. Then they did quantitative easing. They inflated a bubble that's been massive in tech. And now they're being investigated that they allegedly, and some of these are former Goldman Sachs officials, now they're being investigated that they started selling their shares right before they started selling that they were going to taper. And again, we get the stories later, so you'll find this common theme of how things are worded so that they're not clear and give these guys wiggle room. Here's September 8th. To the Honorable Nancy Pelosi from Janet Yellen, went to Mitch McConnell, a bunch of these other folks. So you would assume they saw this. Estimates of the period of time extraordinaries will last, measures will last. So you can read this. I've gone through it before. You can pause it there and read. But basically, our estimates of the period of time, when are these extraordinary measures going to last? Because the debt limit was reinstated August 1st. They were over the limit. Then they went to the extraordinary measures, which meant taking money out of civil service, retirement, and disability funds. So those people I'd call now. Postal Service, they took money out of these Social Security accounts, or the equivalent of Social Security accounts, retirement accounts. That's how they're keeping the government running. When do they think it's going to expire? I don't know how you can, what other answer one could take from this letter. September 15th is the only other date. And if you read through this silly paragraph, so that's why I said, I wonder if that's the date when they're going to run out of money. including the uncertainty in the level of corporate and individual taxes due September 15th. Well, today is September 23rd, so I assume they have an update. I mean, how much money are they spending? And they still can't track it. Did Donald Rumsfeld ever find that 2.3 trillion? Here, yesterday, you have the former secretaries of the Treasury sent a letter to congressional leadership regarding the debt ceiling. Look at who's on this one. We have Hank Paulson, former Goldman Sachs executive, who then went in and was the Treasury, similar to Steve Mnuchin, another Goldman Sachs executive, into the Treasury. Tim Geithner. Well, that makes me feel great. Some great names, honorable reputations. They've paid the bills, and even a short-lived default could threaten economic growth. So why was Congress on vacation for the last month? Here, now, interesting, Steve Mnuchin, who served as Treasury Secretary under former President Donald Trump, did not sign the letter. Okay, CNBC, can we see if we find out why? Even flirting with the first ever US default could spook markets. Well, why didn't they get these guys back from vacation early? Because now it's September 23rd. We're real close to that deadline. It could, even a short-lived default could threaten growth. It almost feels like these guys maybe set it up so they could scare people and get them loaded up on stocks before they crash it. Because Steve Mnuchin, hey, he couldn't comment. I get tired sometimes, but I still do the videos. Let's get to the bottom line here. In that case, Democrats would be left to scramble to find another way to avoid a federal funding lapse and a historic default. Investors blame the increasing fears of default for a sell-off on Monday when the Dow Jones fell more than 600 points, yet still, I believe, is now higher on the week. So if there is a default, though, that means they loaded more people into the stock market bubble, similar to what we see in the spoofing in the other markets, such as maybe that's the inverse of the silver manipulation, although they do that both ways. So there you have that. Why do I think they're getting desperate? Here, Janet Yellen on Sunday, International Talk Like a Pirate Day, September 19th, has even had time to write an op-ed for the Wall Street Journal. Read that. Interesting here. I wondered, because on September 15th, I saw this article, federal stimulus measures reduced poverty in 2020. But if you ignore that, I think I have some credentials to comment on this. I write headlines for videos daily. And, well, if that September 15th date Janet Yellen said was correct and they ran out, you'd say the stimulus was reduced. Well, we don't really know for sure, because even on September 23rd, the sophisticated Federal Reserve, the steward of the globe's reserve currency, the US dollar, well, we still don't have the new data. So we'll see how that goes. There was this bizarre press conference with Janet Yellen, Kamala Harris. I won't play it now, but it was quite bizarre. It felt like an occult ritual mixed with a Goldman Sachs brochure and some heavy political propaganda, and we'll leave that at that. Then lastly, here's what will happen when the Fed starts tapering. Now, yesterday at 2 p.m., allegedly, is when Jerome Powell's statement was released, but CNBC had it before then. So Jerome must have said it before then. What if Jerome said it at 1 p.m. Eastern, and maybe he knew that those Goldman Sachs executives or some of his Fed governors were going to send letters or be concerned about the debt ceiling? It's possible, the way it's worded, that they could have even started tapering before the thing was released. We're not getting up-to-date information, but I'm sure Jerome Powell will be investigating. Fortunately, for something more trustworthy, I'd like to thank BlackRock Silver. BlackRock Silver, different from the other one, bringing us today's video. You can see they're advancing their district scale targets on the newly staked Tonopah North property. Looking forward to having Andrew back on the show soon. And anyway, I'll be keeping you posted on the debt ceiling, and I'll see you again soon.